Is that it then for the Apple Daily?
Yeah, it looks like it. People did turn out in the rain here in Hong Kong this morning as the presses stopped at midnight. And the last run, the last circulation of up to 1 million copies have been distributed in the early hours of this morning. Normally, the daily circulation is about 86,000. So they've printed about 1 million, including this one right here. Well, we've gone to video now, but you can see the front page right here of the Apple Daily newspaper. It's a photo of their headquarters and people lining up outside in the wee hours of the morning to get a copy of this newspaper like this. It basically says Hong Kong came out in the rain to say their painful goodbyes. And as I drove into work this morning, I do drive past Chung Kwan O. I did see at least one person carrying a stack of newspapers under his arm across the street in front of me. So this is a very polarizing issue, and we're not here to glorify the Apple Daily or laud its achievements or anything like that, because if you ask any two people in Hong Kong their opinions on the Apple Daily, they will have very different opinions. It's a polarizing publication. Over 26 years, Apple Daily has been a thorn in the side of Beijing, unearthing alleged hidden wealth of Communist Party officials in China, as well as alleged misdoings of Hong Kong authorities. But it's also, of course, delved deep into the traditional tabloid fare, going into racy coverage of entertainment and crime and celebrity gossip. So there's a love-hate relationship. They don't like necessarily the tabloid style, but they also appreciate and respect this newspaper for basically challenging authority. So that's why this is a polarizing issue. The newspaper has had financial trouble since its assets were frozen after the arrest of course, its founder, Jimmy Lai, the billionaire media tycoon, who is spending 20 months in jail right now under charges, he's been convicted of illegal assembly, but he also faces charges of collusion and trying to incite sanctions against the Chinese and Hong Kong governments from a foreign power, that under the national security law. So he will face those charges and perhaps a day in court coming down the pike. After yesterday, of course, we had the first trial begin under the national security law. So a lot of this is under attention. But again, the Apple Daily closing after 26 years because of financial issues, but also for the safety of its employees.
What's in store then for the jailed leaders of the Apple Daily?
Well, they're going to be put in the queue for potential trial because you had the Apple Daily editor-in-chief, so an editorial side of the newspaper, but you also had the publisher and the CEO of Next Digital, which is the parent. They have both been arrested and denied bail, I might add, under the national security law on collusion charges. We had yesterday as well the 55-year-old opinion columnist, longtime opinion columnist, so on the editorial side of the business, not necessarily on the business side, he was arrested. And that might have been the final straw, because we're also hearing that police sources have told Bloomberg News that further arrests could happen. And we started over the last week, after this footage you're just seeing there of those 5 executives and editors being arrested, the employees started really getting worried, and many of them resigned. And they were down to a skeleton staff in the last couple of days. So they simply did not have the manpower to produce a paper, and they did not feel that it was necessarily safe for the remaining journalists who stayed on in the last days of this newspaper. So it looks as though, even though the newspaper announced that it would be closing on Saturday, it looks as though this last midnight run was the last one for Apple Daily.